What's up, guys? Welcome to the show. Tyler's Talking RC. I got myself, Tyler C., Tyler P., and we got special guest Justin Allen with us today. Before Justin talks a little bit about himself, of course, we're going to go over the news and the upcoming events and dates. We got February Freeze Trophy Race, the 27th. That's this Sunday, so come on down, GT12. We're going to be starting that TTO2 class. Sold a lot of those cars, actually, so should be a pretty cool turnout for that. So bring your TTO2 and your Euro Truck, GT12, WGTR, F1, the whole thing. After that, we got the New York Monster Truck Challenge. Those guys are coming down. What's the date on that? The March 5th Monster Truck Challenge, guys. Awesome crew, awesome trucks. Definitely a little bit different of an event if you are wanting to come down and watch something. It's really cool. The bodies are cool and everything. And then, of course, after that, the Mini Nationals, 19th, 20th. Lee just did the podcast on that last week, so check that out, going over everything for that. And then we also have the mini rock crawling scale truck course going. That's just going to be the 20th, not the 19th and 20th, just 20th for the scale trucks. And then we have the off-road season opener for 8th scale, April 24th, which is what we're talking about today, 8th scale. But before we get too deep into that, I got my buddy Justin Allen with us today. Talking 8th scale, so I'll let him just talk about how he found the hobby and what he's doing sitting with us today.
Yeah.
Go for it, buddy.
Yeah, I started around 4 years ago. I had my buddy Ed Gaunt bring me down here, and
Shout out to Eddie.
Shout out to Ed. And ran my first 10 scale and started to love it. And then I moved on to Schumacher, and I've been with Schumacher ever since. And then the 8th scale came along, and it started getting built up more and more, so I decided to go with Serpent. So I got the Serpent Truggy and Serpent Buggy, which we have in front of us. And this year's gonna be killer. We're gonna kill it. We got some good stuff coming.
So this is real, what I'm about to say. You've only been doing this for 4 years?
Yeah, like four and a half.
Pretty much, yeah.
Well, I don't like you anymore.
Yeah. I haven't been in it very long.
I remember.
That's freaking nuts.
I remember he came down with Eddie, and I don't know if I think you were using Eddie's. I want to say it was maybe like an old Losi or something like that.
Yeah, an old Losi 2-wheel drive.
I remember that old Losi 2-wheel drive.
22 3.0.
I do remember. I remember kind of helping him out a little bit in the beginning, and then he quickly exceeded my ability.
And
probably 95% of the people in the building.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And, then you got into the Schumacher and pretty much haven't turned back since.
Yep.
Then Justin's still being a little bit humble here because he actually is going to be building most of our dirt tracks because he did the last year, and I think you did some the year before. I think I did a little bit half the year before, and you did the other half.
Yeah, I think I finished off the year.
Yeah, he runs the machine and does the layout. Cam does some of the layouts, and Justin puts them down. Obviously, more input than just them two, but majority of them putting in the layouts. And shout out, if anybody's got some ideas for a layout, just let us know, and we can see what we can work out there. But Tyler's laughing over here.
I can just see that being something you regret having said. That's fine.
Well, I'm always down for ideas. It doesn't mean I'm going to take your idea, though.
Yes, that's
true.
true.
And I'll
listen.
I'll
listen.
I mean, if it's a good idea, it's a good idea.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is. But Justin is more or less taking over the 8th scale track stuff. I'm still going to be running most of the events as far as announcing goes and stuff like that. And, of course, I got some input on the layout, too. But, yeah, Justin's kind of taking over the 8th scale scene, and obviously a killer driver at that too, making us look bad there too.
Yeah, a little bit.
And then we
Big
got
time.
Tyler P today is interested in getting into the 8th scale game because he's been kind of 10th scale for life here. So
yeah,
we're going to talk about that too. But before we get into that, we're going to kind of talk about the season a little bit, and because we got the opener of the 24th, so we got to get the track in shape. We got some cool things coming out. We got some new things for Justin to play with out on the track. So we got a new roller coming, which should change the game a bit. Because I know Justin wanted one of those bad last year.
Yeah.
So we got a new one of those coming, compact the track down, get a good pack going. So hopefully that helps the longevity of the track without getting rutted up. Only time will tell on that one.
Okay.
Yeah, so, and we're trying to score some new pipe because that's getting pretty beat up out there. So if anybody's got any connections on the yellow corrugated pipe, hit us up because we're looking for that. And then we got some fresh dirt coming because we used the better part of it last year, honestly, which is crazy to me because we had all that dirt built up around the track, and it's pretty much all gone.
Yeah.
It's crazy the amount of dirt that we lose building these tracks. that dust is real.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
think that's the primary
for
contributor?
Sure. For sure.
Really?
Big
Yeah.
time. Between like the couple months, the 2-3 months there where it rained like every day last year, like big time rain.
There's probably a lot of runoff.
Oh, big time runoff. And then when it got super dry out, it got wicked dusty. That blows
Yeah.
all of it. Because you gotta figure, like, when we're running this track, and then these little berms build up over the pipe, that there's so much
Yeah, that's
people driving
true.
on this track. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
And the water has nowhere to go. And then also, when there's puddles and we're trying to get the track ready and we're out there with brooms and we're brooming it, you're
Yeah,
also pushing
you're-
the dirt.
We're
Yeah.
digging holes deeper.
And you're just kind of digging in a little bit deeper.
No
than-
kidding.
And then we're trenching holes everywhere.
I guess I always figured it was like a farmer that would come here at like 3 in the morning and just like
Yeah.
fill up his pickup truck and be like, they'll never know. And
Yeah,
It feels like it.
right.
I don't even know.
Wow.
That was a crazy amount of, like, 3-4 dump truck loads of dirt got dropped off.
Oh,
last
yeah.
year.
So I know historically, like certain like forms of racing, whether it's 10 scale or whatever, they'll order like a specific blend of dirt. And I know this is going in the weeds, so you can, what was our safe word last week? Pineapple?
Yeah, pineapples.
Pineapple. You can pineapple me if you want. But like, is it like a mix of dirt and clay, or is it kind of like whatever you can get your hands on?
More whatever we can get our hands
Yeah.
on that doesn't have a bunch of rocks and sticks in it
Yeah,
and
screened.
is not ridiculously expensive.
Cool.
We would love to get a whole load of Georgia red clay and put down here,
Blue
Yeah.
Groove, baby.
but it's ridiculously expensive to get trucked here, honestly.
Oh, I'm sure.
And the big thing also is we don't want loom, because
Yeah.
the loom soaks up a lot of water,
And it just
holds the water,
Turns into a
it
motocross
just
track.
turns into mud.
Yep.
So
Honestly,
you got to find that fine line.
yeah.
Yeah.
Scoring good dirt without rocks and sticks in it is kind of our bar right now.
Yeah, fair.
For sure.
Yeah, and
Cool.
we screened a lot of it before, but the rock thing is, we're aware of the rock problem. We try very hard to get rid of as many rocks as we can. So anybody that whines or complains about that, I'm sorry, but we know.
Hey, you're free to walk the track and help.
We try. We bought machines and equipment to get rid of them. We're trying.
Yep.
Yeah.
But enough of that. But the season, anyway, we're getting back to that. Friday nights are going to be our main running of the dirt track. Friday nights is electric only, just because it is nighttime and we do have sound ordinances in Enfield. And we do have a couple neighbors over here that we don't want to get mad and call the police on us or drive up on us. Try to keep it friendly. That's why I run the speakers low, stuff like that.
Oh.
So Friday nights is going to be our primary racing, and we are talking right now of starting a point series like we do Tuesday nights and Friday nights. So we can have a little bit of a longer competition, 8-10 week series, something like that.
Yep.
So that'd be cool. We had a pretty solid turnout of the same people every week last year, so I think it'll be good to have a series.
So about what did the turnout last year look like on an average Friday night?
People-wise, I don't really know, but I can tell you the heats, I would say we had between 3 and 4 heats of Buggy, full classes, and 6 to 8 cars.
Yep.
And then I'd say at least 2 heats of Truggy.
Yep.
Okay.
I'd say 6 races was our average.
Yep.
Some nights 8 and some nights 4, you know what I mean? Depending on
Yeah,
the
it
heat.
depended on.
Heat is a big factor. It gets really hot, and I don't, it's 80, 90 degrees at night, and I get that. It's kind of miserable.
Yeah.
It gets a little buggy there in the middle of the season. And then the rain, obviously, puts a dampener on things. But yeah, I'd say 6 heats, which is, I don't know, 30 to 40
Entries.
cars, yeah.
That's a good
A
showing.
doable amount. We run 2 rounds in the mains generally. Mains run a little bit longer of a race time.
Yep.
So it was a comfortable amount of time. We usually run from 7 to, I don't know, I try to squeeze it in from 7 to 10, maybe 11, depending on how many people. It's like a Tuesday night, basically.
But, right. So compared to like a Friday night where you're here till midnight, 1 in the morning,
Right.
that's kind of refreshing.
Right.
And like you're out, like granted you're outside, it's warm out and stuff, but to me, I've always, I had a car at one point that I played around with out there. It was a few years ago. It was a Nitro 4-wheel drive low-C short course. And it was just cool to be in the dirt,
Right.
getting dirty.
Oh, yeah.
And throwing roost, and because when the track's hard packed, you can slide the car a little bit.
Yeah. Nighttime is the way to go.
There
too.
is something special about running outdoors versus indoors. Indoors, great for like people with OCD,
sure.
but outdoors, it's
Honestly,
It's cool.
outside at nighttime, it's not bad too, because the track, once the sun goes down and we water it that last time, the track conditions more or less stay the same.
okay.
It stays like kind of that darker color where it's like it's wet but not like sticky wet. If
Damp.
that makes sense.
Yeah, the moisture stays in
Yeah.
it. The grip comes up.
Yeah, it
So
stays
it's-
really consistent.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
That's why we have Friday nights is really the way to go. And speaking of Friday nights, as far as Sunday races go, the opener is a Sunday race. What we've been talking about is doing Sunday racing at the beginning of the season and towards the end of the season, and kind of dancing around the middle.
Because that's when it's hottest.
The middle, running Sunday events in the middle of the season when it's like 95 out, we can do it, but it's really kind of hard because one, the dust is insane. Two, it's miserably hot out on top of the driver's stand,
Yeah.
which we're talking about putting up some kind of sunshade for that. So we're working on that.
Oh.
But and then we got to run the sprinkler system. We got to fill the tanks. It's just really a lot of work.
I didn't know there was I didn't know you guys like actually watered the track. I thought
Oh,
it was
we got-
like
we
it
got-
is what it
We
is.
try to keep up
We
on
got
it.
2 big water guns with a few horsepower water pumps, and 2 300-gallon tanks.
Yeah.
Wow.
But we can dump literally 600 gallons of water on the track in like
And
5 minutes.
Within a heat or
And then,
2,
yeah,
it's probably gone.
And if it's windy and
Yeah,
hot,
it's tough.
it's not. It's
That's
ridiculous.
crazy.
Yeah.
And then if we got drag racing going on, those guys get super bent out of shape with the dust on the track, which I understand. Their cars are going fast and they can't stop.
Well,
So there's a couple angles from a business standpoint that we have to look at, not so much just the racers. So just keep that in mind when we say no, we can't run A scale right now, or we can't run this right now. We're usually looking at some other factor going on.
yeah.
It's not just because we don't want to run it.
I didn't realize how much went into it. I thought it was like you change the layout every, like in here, you change the layout every few weeks and you go out and you
The
run.
thing with the carpet is that the carpet doesn't change. The wind doesn't affect it. The weather doesn't affect it. It doesn't get rutted
Yeah.
up. Nothing affects it. If we change the layout and it rains for 2 days, it's like
Trash.
the Nile Delta out there.
Yeah.
Jeez.
As soon as you loosen up the
Yeah,
dirt,
it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And if we put the layout down, the track is soft, and then we got bashers out there ripping on it. It tears up the lips and stuff like that. So it's a lot, and hopefully the roller is going to help us with that this year. That's what we're really hoping. Really pack it in really good while we're building it.
Yeah, you'd hope so.
So there's a few things we're trying extra this year to keep it going, but not to ramble on too much about that. So yeah, Sunday events are going to be beginning and end of the year. We're going to mix in some of the bashing events in between track changes, so those won't affect the main dirt track until we're ripping pipe out and changing it anyway. So we got the bashing events we're going to do in between.
Send it Sundays.
Pretty much. But Friday nights are going to be our primary racing venue. So gear up for Friday nights, 7 o'clock, starting at the end of April. But yeah, that's what our race program is going to look like. We'll have a little more information when it gets warmer out. I just heard we got another foot of snow coming on Friday, so we took our 70-degree day and then right back down to snow.
Yeah.
We got a little excited. That's why we're doing the A scale one. But aside from the season, we're going to talk about just getting into A scale for those of you that are thinking about it, converting from 10 scale to A scale, or just trying something new in the summertime. Because a lot of us do go from 10 scale to primarily running A scale. I know me and Justin, that's primarily what we do. We still run Tuesday nights, of course, don't get us wrong. But our focus kind of shifts to running A scale. That's kind of what we just have fun in the summer doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, just, something to think about. So we had Tyler P. He's interested in getting into A scale, so he doesn't currently run it, so he's got some questions for us. Justin, deep into A scale, obviously. The serpents and doing the layouts, and then myself, I just do everything, so I'm just kind of here.
Host.
Yeah, just got my hands in everything at this point. So I'm going to have Justin kind of talk about the 2 cars sitting in front of us here, just so we can get that out of the way, because we got some pretty awesome Truggy and Buggies sitting here. So I'll let him talk about those for a minute. Go ahead. Bob.
Yeah, we got the Serpent SRX8.
Oh, shout out to Bob Smith.
Yep, Bob
Check
Smith.
out that body.
Bob Smith for the body.
That's pretty hot, dude. I
Came
like the
out
green.
really nice. Got some skulls in it.
Yeah, that's hot.
He's currently doing my 2 buggy bodies right now. But we'll start with the Truggy. It's
I'll hold her up for
the
you.
new Truggy. I got a new chassis.
Don't you
new
have to
flex
zoom in for A
chassis.
scale?
New flex chassis on it. Just went through it from last year. Did a few things. New ESC, new motor.
It's kind of heavy. It's awesome.
I would say this and the Techno are very, very comparable.
What are you running for electronics in here?
The electronics, I got the new ESC, the new, I think that was
It's a Hobbywing
that's
XR8.
yeah, the XR8
Yeah.
with the new, it's an on-road 2000 kV motor. It's a little bit
on-road
different
motor.
than...
We'll explain in a minute.
Yeah, it's a little bit different than the off-road. It's an open can.
What?
So, yeah, it's
We'll explain now.
Yeah.
Alright. The open, all right, so the open can on-road motor. Okay, we ordered these by accident actually at the beginning of last year.
Lemonade out of lemons.
We're like, so we got a bunch of these on-road motors because that was last year was kind of still COVID things were happening. So the shipping and things were kind of hard to get some stuff. So we ordered on-road motors by accident, and it's like we got them, and we're like, well, what are we gonna do with these motors? They're on-road. They got a bunch of holes in them. We don't want to run those in dirt.
Right.
So Justin said, you know what, screw it. He was having trouble with his LRPs at the time.
Yes.
He was burning those things up like crazy.
Yep.
I was like, all right, we'll throw all this Hobby Wing stuff in. He threw that in. And believe it or not, the motor actually didn't get any dirtier, but it ran a good bit cooler because of the cutouts. So, that being said, on-road motors seem to be the way to go in the Truggy and the Buggy.
Yeah.
The cutouts made it run a lot cooler.
Not only that, it was super linear. You know, for the on-road...
Because it has a RPM rotor.
Right.
For the
No
on-road,
way.
you don't want the car to break loose. You want it to have full traction at all times. So
wicked fast on the high end.
it's really fast on the high end. The low end is very, very linear. It gets you into it.
Worked great.
Smooth, you know, so you don't have to really do it with your finger as much.
So, and you guys don't run, these cars don't have slipper clutches.
Nope.
So that's
Center diff, yeah.
center diff, right?
Yep.
That's freaking wild.
Yeah.
That
yeah,
is so
it's-
cool. So it's
worked out.
basically a more mellow power band,
Right.
but it has tons of top end,
Yep.
which is kind of what you like anyway.
Exactly, yeah. And you don't
That's
have to
cool.
go into the ESC
just
and
geared
change
it
it all.
appropriately.
Yeah, you just gear it appropriately.
So, it's
Wow.
a shot in the dark that hit target, basically.
Yeah.
And I know in having a lot of holes in the motor, it does scare people because you're out in the dirt. But I can tell you that that motor in this Truggy ran all last year from the beginning of the year to the end. And I just blew it out every once in a while, and I haven't had a problem with it. And I'm going to run it again this year.
I mean, the only things in the motor that would be at risk is if you get a pebble between the rotor and the stator,
Correct.
which is probably unlikely. Grime in the bearings,
Yep.
which is, unless you have a sealed opposite end,
Pretty hard
that's a
because
risk
the way the
too.
motor mounts in there too.
So it's really just dust getting around the rotor.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
And if you just keep up on the air every once in a while.
And the body covers a good portion of the front.
For sure.
Well, and so does your cooling fan setup.
Yep.
Right.
Like, you basically have a shield over that.
Right.
Does anybody run, I've seen like those, they use them in like off-road trucks as like a air filter cover. It's like a mesh.
Oh,
Does
yeah.
anybody use those over the cars themselves?
I haven't seen anybody do it
Oh,
here
you're talking
personally.
about like the whole cover?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think we've ever used those in the race cars, but we use those on all our bashing cars.
Yeah, like
Okay.
the Mojave
The
has
Mojave,
it.
the X-Max. They work really great in the snow. Side
Okay.
note.
I mean, that would be a good like piece of insurance if
Those
you
work
weren't
good,
comfortable
but
with
if
the
they
open
do get
motor.
loaded up, then your car builds up a lot of heat on the inside. It's
Yeah.
almost better just to let the dust just blow over the car.
Right.
Okay.
But those do work great in the snow and the mud. If you're going to be bashing, you want to keep it clean.
For sure.
Honestly, side note. But yeah, I know what you're talking about.
So-
They do sell them.
So Hobby Wing Speedo, Hobby Wing motor.
Yep. And I also have the Power HD. I think it's an S35 in this car.
Yeah, you get a 35 here, and
And I
this
think
got
I
a
have a-
That's a
Savox.
Savox.
Savox
2292.
Monster in the Buggy.
I run the Savox S50 in my Truggy. I have the Techno Truggy, by the way.
Yeah, that's the one I would prefer.
Yeah, the S50.
For sure, yeah.
The S50 is probably the way to go. You could probably do the 35 fine in the Buggy. The 50 I felt was better in the Truggy.
Yep.
Just because of the tire size.
Okay.
So the 50 is their most torque. And
Okay.
actually the Power HDs just came out their new lineup too. The programmable
Oh, yeah,
ones,
that's
which
true
we just
too,
got
yeah.
in stock, which are
Yep.
pretty sweet.
Yeah,
And
there's
Programmable
five
servo?
There's
Yes.
5 modes on it.
you can program the servo.
Yeah.
It's pretty. It's crazy. What time?
So they run 4-cell.
Correct.
Do you have any issue? I mean, I guess the 8th scale ESCs are probably designed for this, but you don't have any issues with like having to run like a capacitor bank or anything to keep up with the big servo?
Nope.
Okay.
No, and these will put out 7.4 to the receiver too.
Yeah, so that keeps it up.
Yeah, we
no.
run high voltage stuff. He's running the M17, right? Yeah.
Yes,
He's got
M17,
M17,
yeah.
so.
And our heats are usually 5 minutes, and then our mains are 8, so you have plenty of battery to get through it.
That's the cool part.
Yeah.
I like the idea of an 8-minute main because like 5 minutes out here, if you're doing great, good for you.
Right,
God bless.
right,
But if you're
exactly.
trying to charge back to the front after making a mistake, say on lap 3, every time,
Yeah. It's
then
tough. Yeah,
like
for
you
sure.
want a few extra minutes to get in the groove.
Yep.
That's cool.
You can easily run these for 10 minutes, I'd say.
Oh, yeah. Easily.
Yeah.
Okay.
and he's running the New Wave 8000 4-cell on that one.
Okay, so you need like an 8,000 milliamp battery, and then you'll have plenty of... So if you were to go out to practice with these, can you run it to cutoff, not have to worry about temps?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
and they do okay in hot weather?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I've never had
the only
that.
time we run.
Well, yeah, I'm just...
No, they do get hot, but the larger motors and speed control seem to take the heat better than the 10 scale stuff.
Yeah, so I've always had a suspicion that part of what has to do with that is you're running higher voltage.
Right.
I mean, not suspicion, you are, it's a fact. So because you're running higher voltage, you're running lower kV and you're drawing less current,
Correct. Yep.
relatively speaking, than a 10 scale system if you were to try to get, near that power range. And I think current is usually what generates heat.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes sense. That's cool.
That's why my setup is a lot different. We'll talk about that in a second. And then you got what's this kV on this?
That's a 2000.
So you got a 2000 in the Truggy, and then I guess it's a good point to move over to the Buggy. You got
I got a 1900 in the Buggy.
1900, same speed control.
Nope, the older one.
Oh, it's the older XR8.
Yep.
Okay. It's just the older version of the one that's in this one. Hobbywing. Honestly, Hobbywing seems to be the way to go out there. Tekin's got some pretty good stuff. The only problem I have with Tekin is they're still rocking a plastic case on their speed control, and the way they mount the fan in the plastic case, it seems to break all the time.
Mm-hmm.
The plastic case. Hobbywing's got a fully aluminum.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
It's a fully aluminum speed control now, so it almost never breaks, honestly. I have occasionally trouble with their switches, but you can solder new ones on. Tekin's run great, super smooth, good features, but tend to be like physically not durable.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Justin has a real sour about the LRP stuff.
Yeah, the A-scale LRP stuff was...
Justin almost quit.
Yeah, I was on the
season.
verge. I went through 3 of them. One of them I just plugged it in and it exploded. So it was tough in the beginning.
LRPs are.
That's discouraging.
Yeah, I wanted to stick with it, but
He just had no problems in the 10 scale.
yeah, my 10 scale stuff is all LLP and I
Yeah.
don't have any real problems. So
8 scale, forget
was-
about it.
It was weird, yeah.
Hobbywing, honestly, is the way to go. 8
Yeah.
scale, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure.
And you can't tell me any different. I'm sorry. I know someone's yelling at me over there right now, but I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I run a Hobbywing in mine, and I run a Hobbywing in everything, honestly.
Yeah.
But you got so the Buggy is also a SRX8 Serpent.
Yep, that's the Cobra Pro. It's the I put a saddle pack conversion in it, so it does come in the kit as a brick you put a 4-cell in it, and you can buy a
that's
saddle pack.
aftermarket?
Yeah, you can buy an aftermarket saddle pack kit. So the old 811 Cobra that before this one was saddle pack only. So when they went to the new one, they decided we'll do a conversion kit because some people like the saddle pack, which I do. A little bit more, the weight distribution is
Seems
a
like
lot
it should be
better.
more balanced.
Yeah, it's a lot more balanced than having a brick per se on one side versus...
So when you run the brick, does that mean you have the brick, say, here, and then the motor would be over here?
Yes, correct.
Ah, okay.
Associated
Yeah.
must have thought the same thing. Whoa. We may have been having a conversation
Yeah.
before the
Shots
video
fired.
about that.
Yeah,
How it kind of looks like a funny looking serpent. Mugen.
Yeah.
It's a serpent Mugen.
yeah. Not only that, X-ray,
It's a merpin.
I believe, does do also, they do the saddle pack too.
Fair enough.
So
Okay.
But yeah, that was funny. But anyway,
I guess it's just preference, really.
yeah. Where'd you? I know somebody's gonna ask me. So where'd you get these shock socks?
Oh, so the shock shocks came from Spain. Or no, Paris, I should say.
Paris.
Paris. And
Like in Europe?
they're called Flex Tub.
Yes, that's where it is.
Flex Tub.
Like the country.
FLEXTUB.
Flex tube, and it actually has the serpent.
Yeah,
logo.
so
Yeah, I saw that.
So you can put whatever logo you want because
Yeah.
something had Techno one in our group there too.
correct. I think there was like 15 different logos you can get
preset.
preset on
I'm sure
whatever
colors
you want.
probably,
and then
too.
the colors, there was like 15 different colors.
Oh, my OCD approves.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Well, it keeps the shocks from
Yeah, I just try and
the shafts getting all scored up,
Yep.
and
Just looks cool.
keep them a
They-
little
they-
cleaner.
It's stout.
I mean, especially when the body matches and everything, that looks.
I mean, they got shock boots anyway, don't
For
they?
sure.
Oh,
Yes.
they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got shock boots
Ace-
underneath.
pretty much
there,
all
so-
Ace
Well, I don't
yeah.
want to lift it up and do,
Yeah.
Lift up their sock.
lecherous. That's a little inappropriate for a PG program.
Pretty much every A scale comes with shock boots at this
Yeah,
point.
for sure.
That's
but they
cool.
do look cool. They do look cool. I'm not gonna lie.
Yep.
So yeah, that's Buggy and Truggy. These are Justin's. I run the techno stuff. I only run Truggy, which we're gonna have a conversation about in a second. I run the newest techno Truggy, which has been really awesome to me. And we do have a big group of guys running the techno stuff, and we do have a couple guys running the Serpent. I would say Mugen, Serpent, and Techno are the top three for us at our track anyway. Associated is coming out with a new car, so maybe they'll gain a little ground there. But between those three, it's going to be hard to beat them. In my opinion, Techno is the way to go. Obviously, Justin likes the Serpent stuff, but they're a little bit harder to get the parts for.
For sure.
We work at a hobby shop, so we can source parts, but the Techno ones are definitely more readily available and easier for us to get even as a shop. But they're all solid cars. A-scales are really built pretty well, to be honest with you. They could take quite a beating out there. So beyond the cars, we're going to get into the question of the day. Do I run Buggy or do I run Truggy?
Oh boy.
This is kind of what we were talking about before the show. My opinion, I think if you're just getting into it, okay, say you've been running 10 scale or maybe nothing at all really, I usually lean towards running Truggy. So right up front, I'll talk about it cost-wise. We were kind of discussing this before. We seem to agree that it's about $150 more to run Truggy overall. Because all the electronics are basically the same, minus maybe the KV on the motor, but that doesn't really affect the cost. Same batteries. It just came down to the kit price and the little bit more expensive tires. So I figured the tires are roughly, I don't know, maybe $40-50 more for all four. Yeah. That might even be a little high.
Yeah.
So a set of tires for this, how much?
$100.
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
Set of tires for this,
50.
It's not. Honestly, it's not even. It's probably $70-80.
Yeah, I think it was like $80 for those.
So it's not even a $50 difference.
Yeah.
And you were saying that the Truggy, you can get away with more runs on a set of tires.
For sure.
So what are we looking at as typical for a set on a Buggy versus the Truggy?
I would say you could easily run Truggy tires twice as long as Buggy.
Oh yeah, I would agree.
But is that 2 runs or is that
I would say
2 days?
Well, you guys run more than I do, so I would let Justin answer that one.
Yeah, I mean, usually like throughout the week, we would probably come down and practice maybe twice a week, and then we would run our Friday nights. And then if we had a Sunday race as well, I would probably run that whole week on one set of Truggies.
No kidding.
Yeah.
But you got to keep in mind too, because when they're coming down during the week, the track is usually dry and it's super abrasive when it's dry.
Yeah.
When we run Friday night, it's wet. It's not nearly as abrasive.
Right.
And we also changed the size of the pins. So if he's practicing on these tires and he's running it midday and it's 80 degrees, 90 degrees, and the track is desert, it's tearing tires up big time.
So do you go to a bigger? So would these be the dry tire or the wet tire?
Wet. These are wet tires.
These are wet. These are Friday night tires for sure.
Bigger lug.
Yeah.
Bigger, more spaced out lug for wet. Smaller, closer, dry.
Yep.
Okay.
That's kind of how we roll with it.
Makes sense.
And on another note, these are the new. We just got these in the Jekyll.
Right, yeah, we're gonna be trying the Jekyll tires.
We got some Jekyll's in.
These things are looking good.
Yeah, these are called block ins.
They're a pretty
So
gooey rubber.
yeah. There's a medium soft and
USA
a super
rubber
soft.
too.
Like America rubber?
That's what it says on the box.
Yeah, they say that there's a Loctite seal of approval. They use
look
Loctite glue.
They look like they did a bang on glue
And
job. To be
I'll
honest
tell you
with
what, we've tried to rip one off and we couldn't.
Yeah,
So
they did it. As far as we've gotten some sweeps and some pro lines, and honestly, they just fling right. They'll blow right off. These things, I'm gonna be surprised I see one of these blow off. I'm not gonna lie.
For sure.
Cool.
But anyway, yeah, I'd say so cost wise. Back to the cost wise, Truggy tires are a little more expensive, but you do get a little more mileage out of them. And I'm sure somebody else has got a different opinion about that, but just in my experience. And then generally the kit price is usually about $100 more for a Truggy. Give or take, just because it's longer arms and chassis, basically. But the reason I recommend Truggy to somebody getting into it, I think they're much easier to drive than Buggy. You still get the 8-scale experience. They're easier to drive, which usually tends to make it less discouraging for just starting something new.
Fair.
I only run Truggy because I just like to slap my car down and run it, because I'm usually running the racing, so I don't really have a lot of practice or warm-up time.
Yeah, you don't have time to futz with stuff.
Charging it, slapping it on the track, and driving it, and It drives itself, basically. It's an awesome car. But if you're looking to put in the time and you want something a little more technical, Buggy is definitely more competitive. Like I said, we usually get about 4 heats of Buggy to 2 heats of Truggy. That's usually the ratio. So there's definitely more competition in Buggy, but it's a lot harder to drive, but it's more rewarding.
So riddle me this.
Okay.
When someone walks in here in the winter to run on carpet, what do most people steer them toward?
I would say 2-wheel drive stock Buggy.
So why is the... I see a parallel here as 2-wheel stock buggy, stadium truck.
Which I agree with, but
So
we run mod stadium truck. If we ran stock stadium truck,
then you'd be saying
story.
it's easier
Right.
to drive. That was all right.
Sure.
So that was the one hole in the argument
Yeah.
I thought I found.
If this was twice as fast as that,
Then
it
they
would maybe be a different game.
fair.
Right.
But I see what you're saying there.
So they're approximately the same horsepower then.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're basically the same down the
Yeah.
straight. The Truggy might get you a little just because of the bigger tires and the traction, but
Right.
I mean, you're running a 2000 to a 1900 on the same voltage.
Yeah. So
Relatively the same gearing.
You're-
The Buggy, I think, is geared up a hair
well,
more.
yeah, I
anyway.
can see the buggy is geared up, but it has a shorter
Different
tire,
right,
so
right.
it probably comes out in the wash.
Right.
So now that argument makes sense because
Right.
you basically have a platform that at least looks and probably behaves much more stable, much more forgiving,
Right.
like a stadium truck.
100%. Yep.
Because that's what I tell people when they ask about stadium truck is like they're kind of floofy, but they're very forgiving. You can clip the hose and it just rides up over the hose,
Right.
doesn't care.
Right.
Yeah, if we ran 17.5 in stadium truck, it'd be way easier to drive.
And that would be the answer. Okay,
Yeah.
I accept your rationale. That makes sense.
Like
Yeah.
Tyler said, he just throws his Truggy down and goes. He doesn't have to really worry about it. Buggy, we're kind of messing with shocks. We're kind of messing with, pill angles.
Takes
and
more
it takes
to
some-
get the same
to
ease
get-
of use. I guess.
Right, exactly. To
Yeah.
get the car to be plush and to take up those little small bumps like the Truggy doesn't even feel bumps.
you
It's
can
a little
see
bit
the tire
longer
size.
and wider. And,
Right.
I mean, just from a rut in the track standpoint, I mean, you
Yeah.
got like an inch on that tire.
right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, so I would say that the size of the wheels and the suspension travel probably is has to be a huge
Yeah,
factor in that.
The wheelbase is 3.
Well,
I
and
don't know, probably 2-3 inches longer.
Yeah.
which makes for a more mellow.
Right. And the
Correct.
shocks are longer. Ride height wise, Truggies sit way higher. So it just, and in general, soaks up the track better and is easier to drive.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But if you're willing to put in the time, I mean, to be honest with you, most guys run both classes.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
Yes.
The people that are really into it are running both classes. It's like running 2-wheel drive and 4-wheel drive Buggy
Yeah.
inside.
Yep.
A lot of guys will buy matching cars and run both. But if you're just getting into it and want to just pick one, I usually go Truggy. Cost wise, it's negligible at this. I mean, if you're spending $2,000 on this thing,
Seriously?
that's. I mean, you're spending $500-$600 on a kit, if not a little bit more. Motor speed control, $350.
Yeah.
So you're built. We'll call it $900 there. $100 on a servo. You're at $1,000. 4-cell, $150. $1,050. Tires, another $100. It's $1,250. Did I miss something?
Oh,
Radio system if you don't have one.
so call it 1,500 if I have to. If I use
1,500
my
if you got-
MT44.
Correct. Yeah. If you have.
I'd say
if you have your own
1,500 if you
stuff.
got some equipment.
Yeah.
2,000 if you don't have any equipment.
Right. That makes sense.
So, and you're talking $100 difference between the two. You're whistling over there.
I know.
It's okay. So, cost wise, I wouldn't really think about it that way. I just think when I give somebody my Truggy, they can kind of whip it around pretty good out there. I let people use my car all
It
the
speaks to how easy it is to, or how much easier it is
Right.
to drive.
time. And that being said, if somebody does want to try a Truggy, I do keep most of my cars around for people to try.
You're so nice.
Well, I mean, it is what it is. I understand from a customer perspective of not wanting to give a completely new guy their $1,000, $1,500 car. I completely understand that.
Yeah.
But from my perspective, it's my job. I don't really care if you break or whatever my car. I want you to experience the full experience
Well, right, and it's tough to tell somebody like you should totally spend $2,000 on
to
this
see if you
Right,
like
right.
it.
if they don't even have a feel for it.
Right.
Whereas if you hand them the controller, the odds are probably pretty good that
9 times out of 10,
It'll
it
make the
works out
sale.
in my favor.
Yeah,
Or at
exactly.
least somebody has a good time. And
Right.
honestly, the amount of times that my Truggy's broken from somebody else using it
probably
is,
not a whole bunch.
honestly, I don't think ever.
It didn't. Yeah.
I think one time, I think the only reason I think Cam broke apart and I had to take one apart off my truck
Yeah,
is the
that
only
was
time
the
it's
only
ever
time.
been had a
Yeah.
part.
Yep.
And he drives like an animal. So,
Yep.
Cam is on a different level.
Cam's a
Yeah, shout out
hot
to
hand.
Cam.
Shout out to Cam. He's probably not watching. He's been ghosting us.
Yep.
But I know you had some questions about the ACO game that are probably relevant to the show. I don't know.
Well, no, I mean the truth is that you guys already covered it. The biggest kind of debate in my mind was Buggy versus Truggy, and hearing how it works that Truggy is kind of more mellow to drive. Like by the time we get to the spring, my drive and my focus from 10th scale carpet is going to be just like goose egg.
Yeah.
I'm going to want something that I can build, will be in the ballpark, and I can just throw down and have some fun. And the problem is right now, my mentality is, well, I have cars that I can run turf, so maybe I should just run turf.
Which we also do, though.
Yeah,
But the problem with turf is it runs on Sundays, which I have a conflict with early. And even if I was able to get here, toward the end of the first round, and Chris shuffled stuff and basically, was way accommodating, it's still like that's my whole Sunday is toast.
Right.
Whereas Friday nights is Friday nights.
Right.
And I mean, maybe you guys can, because I haven't been there yet, can you speak to the culture or the environment compared to in here on a Friday night in the winter where everybody is like,
I can run you through a Friday night.
boxes of
for sure.
tires and trying to dial the car in.
So,
here we're chasing
I like that.
tents.
So I'll run you through
That's a
Friday
good question.
night.
Yeah.
You know.
So Friday night, usually I'm gonna say about 5 o'clock, people start rolling in. So we don't really use any of the pit spaces inside because he still runs
I
Friday
kinda
night.
figured,
He still
yeah.
runs Friday night. So most people pull in. Most of us drive a truck. Honestly, we back our truck up. We got folding tables. Flip out our folding tables. In the hotter months where the sun hangs out a little bit longer, we got some throw up tents. I know Justin's got a pretty sweet Serpent one, but pop up tents. There's power on the driver's stand and there's power over on the side of the building, so we have that.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of guys will bring their own little generator jobs, the quiet ones. I know Bishop's got a sweet trailer. He brings that. A couple guys got trailers. I know Tyler P's wanting a trailer.
Yep.
A-Scale is a sick time to use a trailer.
Yep.
I sweat like a pig, so I just want something with air conditioning.
Well, that's the nice thing about Friday night. Once that sun goes down, it's
probably a lot
That's
better.
It's really better.
That's why we're trying to push more towards Friday nights.
There's a couple Friday nights throughout the summer where it's still hot at night and wicked muggy, but that's just where we live.
Right.
Well, so for me, like the reason I'm never here in the summer, aside from like popping in to get bits and pieces, is from like late April to November is full-size car track day season. So I'm like out doing that kind of stuff. But even that, I don't do anything
Friday night.
late June, July, August because it's super hot and I don't feel like torturing the car and torturing myself sitting on pit lane with a helmet on.
Right.
So if I'm going to have a hobby where I take off a month or two in the middle, it can be this just as well as it can be that. And frankly, running in the fall, running in the spring, when you've got that like perfect weather and the track is damp, has got to be
it is a phenomenal
just
night.
ridiculous.
The beginning and the end of the year for racing is awesome. It's the middle bit. Honestly, the middle bit between usually get this bout of rain season for like a good month or so. Last year was brutal.
Or it's super hot.
And then it's ridiculously hot.
Yep.
So it's like 2-3 months where it's like we kind of power through it, but we have a good night here and there.
Yep.
Then the beginning and the end, beautiful. You get that
Right,
nice
and
little
that's
spring
kind of what I'm
breeze.
living for. That's where my mind is.
So in the Friday night, we get here, 5-6 people rolling in, packing in. I usually come out, set it up around 6 or so, get to everything, all the equipment going, and blah blah blah. 7 o'clock after I got signups in, kick it off. First race. At that point, it's more or less a regular race event. Call the next race, heat sheets posted, it's all on live RC, blah blah. And then but people are all hanging out outside. We do the first round, second round, the mains. And then, we got pizza going outside. People are eating, hanging out. I usually take a little break in between, depending on the turnout. Hang out outside.
Yeah, it's a super laid back Friday night.
That's what I hear over and over and over.
It's pretty relaxed. We don't. It's like if you just race like Tuesday night. Tuesday night, I usually am pushing a little bit harder because it's a Tuesday. You know what I mean?
Yeah, people have work the next day.
Yeah, we got stuff to do the next day. Friday night, not so much. And if the weather's nice, I'm really laid back.
Right.
But if it's super hot and muggy, I kind of want to go home and
Yeah.
take a shower because
Yeah,
the
yeah,
dust
yeah.
clings to you. You're sweaty.
For
It's
sure.
kind of sucks. But if it's like 70 out or 75, a nice breeze,
Yep.
we're all chilling,
Oh,
we're having
yeah.
a good time, dude. We'll be out there for a while.
Yep.
So what about? I'm trying to say this delicately. My expectation would be that it would be more of the big boys running, versus like there's a large demographic of like younger racers indoors in the
There's
winter.
definitely less kids in ACL.
I feel like everybody out there has adult money for the bigger
For sure.
cars
Yeah.
and
Yeah, for sure.
tend to stick with it in the summer.
There's honestly very few kids, which I wouldn't mind more kids. Don't take me the wrong
Yeah,
way.
yeah, don't, yeah.
But yeah, you are right. It's
Okay.
honestly, it's a lot of the guys that run 10 scale in here that just move out and run 8 scale.
Yeah.
Right, and I mean I know I've seen, like
Yeah,
you
Like,
and Trip,
Trip
and
or Ruby, I mean, the
Yeah.
list goes on. The normal crew
Yep.
that we have is our normal crew on a Friday night, and
Okay.
that's when it's cool. It's just laid back. Everybody knows what to do, marshaling, and
Yeah.
people are eating pizza and helping each other, and it's a huge commodity. It's
Yeah.
awesome. It's a good time.
That's cool, and that makes sense because most people don't come in and start with an 8th scale buggy.
Right.
They start with a 10th scale buggy.
Yep.
So okay, cool. That makes sense.
yeah, Friday nights are awesome. And then we do, and like I said earlier, we're gonna make it a point series, so hopefully that continues to draw the same crowd on a consistent basis.
Yeah, it gives you a reason to be there
Right.
aside
Right.
from
And
being there.
obviously allows for more bragging rights, which just turns into usually more fun.
Oh,
the
for
most
sure.
part.
For
the
sure.
most
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we got a little techno serpent battle going on right
Oh
now
yeah.
with the crew. We got Justin and John running serpent, myself. And
Wait a
a
minute,
couple
John
other
is
guys.
running Serpent?
He is.
He is. Yeah.
Does Yokomo
He's
not
my
make
boy.
an 8th scale?
He's my boy.
They don't.
Oh, all right. Well, I guess
That's
he
why-
has an
that's why
excuse then.
Trip runs
It's like
Mugen.
it's like two guys
Oh.
against 30. There's a lot of
Yeah,
a lot of
techno.
techno.
There's a Mugen crew over there too.
Oh, we got
Trip,
Mute. Yeah,
Jesse.
we got Mute. Yeah,
I think
yeah,
Nick
for
runs
sure.
one.
Yep.
So we got if you hang out with us long enough, you will end up kind of in your own little group,
Yeah.
and we all kind of run our own brand. And not to say we don't hang out with each other, because I hang out
Oh
with
yeah,
these guys all
no,
the
yeah,
time.
we all have.
But
a
we
good
end
time.
up talking smack.
Shall we
Yes.
say there are
Yes.
factions?
Yes.
Talking smack to
Okay.
each other when one of us wins.
Yep. Yep.
Which honestly is just really fun.
Yeah, it makes it even.
We do it all.
that much
We do
more
it all
fun.
winter too, though.
Yeah.
Like you saw before the show, me and Justin were give each other crap.
Yeah, we were
for running
already
techno.
talking
So
about it. Yeah.
We're not even running them. We give each other crap.
Yep.
I got to look in. So I am much more sold than I was before.
Yeah.
It's honestly fun.
But I do like
It's-
my blue
it's super
vehicles.
fun.
So I may have to look into what.
Well, I mean,
It's going to depend on when their
Yeah,
release date
yeah,
is,
we
when
were
it's
talking-
available.
yeah.
The new one's looking all right. I mean, the old car was not bad either, but it wasn't the best either. To be honest with you, I know.
Okay.
For example, Cameron Dopp.
Yeah. oh,
Cameron
yeah.
Dopp was
Huge,
Die Hard
yeah.
Associated.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
he was the
and-
example I was thinking of.
Huge example.
Die
Big
Hard
example,
Associated.
Yeah.
He tried his heart out to get he wanted a Truggy last season. He was running the 8-scale Associated Buggy, and he was doing great with it.
Yeah,
I mean,
he was killing it, yeah.
he can drive a toaster.
Right.
Yeah.
And he wanted a Truggy because we were all driving Truggy and honestly we have the time of our life running Truggy. It's like Buggy, they're all a little more serious running
Mhm.
Buggy, and then when we all run Truggy, we're all a little less serious.
Yeah.
Why? I don't know.
Yeah.
Just easier to drive. I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
But that he wanted the Truggy so bad, but he couldn't get one to save his life. He called Associated. We were calling him. We were trying to get him. Oh, it's gonna be a month. It's gonna be a month. It's gonna be a month. He said, "Screw it." I was like, Cam, get yourself a Techno, dude. I kept telling him Techno. He finally got one. He got a Techno. Sold his Associated by a Techno Buggy.
Oh.
He's
Yeah,
full Techno
he's
now.
full techno. Yeah.
Okay.
And he honestly dominates with them.
Yeah. Yeah. He kills it.
Not saying he couldn't win with a Serpent either,
I mean, Cam could win with a Tia lunchbox.
Yes.
But
Yes.
he did better with the Techno than he did the Associated.
For sure.
Hands
Okay.
down.
Yep.
Not taking away from their new car, I love the Associated 10 scale stuff. I run their
yeah,
10
I mean
scale
that's
stuff,
I've got a bunch of their cars.
Right.
Love them to death.
Right.
but I wouldn't run their A scale. I would run a Techno.
I mean, Techno's another brand that I've heard
They're just built
a ton of
like a
good
tank.
about, and even their 10 scale cars, it's like, oh, that's a Techno. That's why that didn't break when I heard that awful noise from
They're
the track.
building
you
like
know?
a tank. And honestly, their 10 scale stuff is really good, but it's geared more towards dirt and clay,
Right.
Yep.
which we don't run, so I don't run that stuff.
Right. So it's a little out of our wheelhouse.
Right. But
But that's where they gain. That's where they gain that extra little bit because their 10 scales are also geared towards dirt. Their A scales are dirt. You know, it's like so
They're
they
just a
know
dirt
they got the
company.
dirt game on lock. You know.
Which, I mean, hey, if that's your core competency and you want to stick to that,
Right.
Godspeed.
Right.
You know.
I mean, but you could definitely, associate it and have fun with us, honestly. I don't know what they're doing for their Truggy, because I think they just released a Buggy, though.
Right, which means the new version of the Truggy is probably X number of months away.
Right.
But that's the problem Cam was having, trying to score a Truggy.
Yeah.
He had the new Buggy, but he could not get the Truggy.
Yeah.
But, like I said, that was kind of COVID situation with the shipping supplies and stuff, so they may have figured that out.
I'll have to look into
I don't
that.
want to knock them too much for that.
Yeah, I mean, their stuff's good. It's not like
Great.
the car is going to be the limiting factor when I'm holding the controller. So
Yeah, that's...
And that's the
how I
other
feel
thing
about it.
too with carpet. You have to be so precise on carpet, you know. And out on the dirt, you can get loose. You can
Just
you
give
can
me a
catch
pop.
the pipe, and you can still get away with it.
Yeah.
You know,
Which
and
which just sparked up a thing
Yeah.
for me is the rules,
okay,
which is why it's I think a lot more relaxed.
That
A
too.
scale is there's really no rules.
yeah.
oh well, you were saying that your car you run a different power setup.
I have a 1650 Castle motor with a 5-cell.
Yep.
So I ran.
Really? Why?
Well, your KV. You were just talking about KV. I ran a lower KV with higher voltage.
Right.
So you're playing
So
the
I
heat
run,
game?
I run no fans in my car.
Yeah, he has no fans.
I ran my car for 15 minutes straight with no fans in July.
Yep. And not a problem.
How do you end up with a 5-cell? A 2 and a 3?
It's a 5-cell battery. We actually have
Oh.
New Wave 5-cells
Oh,
that we made for a little while.
Yeah.
It's legitimately a 5-cell,
Okay.
which is a little bit sketchy. Don't try this at home, kids, because I run a Max 6 speed control, and the cutoff is only for 4 and 6-cell. So I run 0 cutoff.
Oh,
Okay.
Cutoff is turned off.
Okay.
So my car will kill my battery if I
Gotcha.
don't pay attention.
don't
your
But
car will kill itself.
Right.
if
But
you don't pay
But it's an
attention.
8,000 5-cell, so I've never had a problem with a race. And like I said,
Right.
I ran it for 15 minutes, and I still was okay.
That's insane.
But I used about 7,000 milliamp on that one, so.
But that's, I mean, can gas cars even go gas, nitro,
You
whatever?
get about,
Can they go 15 minutes?
It depends on your tune. I think you can get about 7 to 9 minutes out of a tank.
Yeah. So, sidebar, not totally related, but I'm curious. Aside from the noise ordinance, nitro is really kind of not a thing?
Well, we do a little bit of nitro on our Sunday events, but to be honest, the turnout is usually pretty weak. Nothing to our own. We don't like turn them away or anything.
Right.
It's just the local crew is electric, and electric is just easier.
Yeah,
Straight
I
up.
get it.
Because you got to figure when you run nitro, you have to, for one, it's a running engine, so you got to keep it running.
Mhm.
You have fuel, igniter, you
Starter
need
box.
battery 4-set starter box, battery still in the car. You still need power servos. You're still charging a battery there. And you really need somebody else
need
to
a
come
pit-
with you,
you need a pit
to
man.
pit for you to fill the tank.
Yeah.
Because
they,
they tend to run long mains.
Well, they usually run a 20, 30-minute race.
Right.
Which, again, from a marshalling standpoint, really is not fun either.
Oh, because you're parked out there for a half hour.
Well, when it's 95 in July and you got to stand in the middle of
Right.
a dirt track for 30 minutes.
Right.
And you burn.
Yes.
and then you got a nitro guy that flips over and he's upset and he's holding it wide open until
Doing
you
one of
get
these.
there. It's like it's tough.
Nitro is cool, but it's honestly, I'm sorry, whoever's listening, it's dying. I know, I said it.
Well, brushless and lipo have not done it any favors.
Yeah.
The power density is so high and the run times are so long.
Right.
I mean,
And coming from a guy that loves engines,
Oh yeah, don't get me wrong, for sure.
It's
I
time.
mean,
Well, there's-
nitro's awesome. But
the smell and the sound
Yeah.
is pretty cool. And I mean, like I've noticed because I love going on YouTube and watching like videos from like Ryan Harris, Spencer Rifkin, some of these guys, and seeing how they think and trying to learn from them. It seems like nitro is way bigger the further south you go in the
we
country.
can run it all year.
right.
Right.
We have to take
You got to take the elements,
5-6 months off, basically.
The air, all that stuff goes in effect. Not only that, you could be first in your 13-minute main or 15-minute main. All of a sudden, you get a flame out, and it's like,
and if we run,
then what?
And if we run trophy
so
events
tough.
Sundays, on a good year, you're probably gonna get 6 months of trophy racing months, right? That's 6 times that you can run a nitro buggy.
Right.
Aside from practice and traveling around.
Versus down there,
if you just have it here.
Yeah.
That's 6 times you can run a nitro buggy on a good, if it does, nothing gets rained out.
Right.
And they're actually more expensive to build.
I believe that.
Because now you need 2 servos. And a good nitro engine is $500 to $600 with a pipe.
Really?
Yeah. And fuel is something you can consider now. It's $50-$60 a gallon for nitro fuel.
Seriously?
Now, was it hard? Is it still hard to get, or are you guys?
Well, from what I understand about nitro fuel, now don't look into it look into it yourself. Don't take my word for it. I believe the process for making nitro fuel, they were manufacturing nitro fuel. Now nitro fuel has become a byproduct of another process, so therefore has cut down the supply of nitro fuel.
Okay.
Because now they only are selling nitro fuel when they run this other process.
Really?
So
get the
they're not
byproduct from it.
Right. They're not manufacturing it by itself. It's only manufactured when this other process is taking place.
By convenience.
Right. So the price of it has shot up, and that's not just RC. That's real drag racing. That's nitromethane in general.
Huh.
Nitromethane has just become a byproduct. I could be wrong, but that's just what I've been told by the nitro manufacturers.
Interesting.
But not to go off too much tangent, but back to the rules a little bit before we cut out here.
Oh, yeah.
There's not really, now I know someone's probably going to yell at me, there is rules. There's some rules, like it's got to be a buggy, it's got to be a Truggy, you got to run Truggy tires, blah, 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 this and that. But you can run really as much power as you want. You could throw a 6-cell in that if
so
you
they're
wanted
both
to.
basically open classes.
More or less, because what it is dirt is such a, I don't know what the word here I'm looking for.
Equalizer?
Yes, thank you. Where dirt is such an equalizer because you can only put so much power to the ground that if you want this thing to run on 8-cell and be ballistically fast, all right, go for it. Can't get it around a corner.
Right.
I don't care.
Right. Yeah, you ain't got
Carpet, you get a ridiculous amount of traction. So you get a 5.5 motor compared to your 17.5. I know lap time wise, but I'm just saying down the straight and stuff like that. This track is much bigger, so if traction was a factor,
it would be more of an advantage.
On a bigger track, it's more of an advantage.
Well, but even to a lesser extent out here, I mean, you take a stadium like the lesson Big Papa Bishop taught me. Take the 7.5 out of the truck and put a 13.5 in it, and I was a lap faster.
Right.
Which is essentially why we have no rules. We found 4-cell, and honestly, some of the days 3-cell is probably enough. Is just enough.
Yeah.
I ran the
It's more than
5-cell,
enough.
but my KV is significantly lower.
Yeah, you're not running 5-cell
So-
for power. You're running it for efficiency.
Justin and me run down the straight. Honestly, his car probably pulls on mine a little bit because of the higher KV. Mine just runs a little more efficient. Mine's got a lot of torque off the line, but his has got more legs. But
with the on-road motor, that is such a smart idea. That's cool.
Yeah. But anyway, I don't know if you guys got anything else to add to the A scale.
No, I think we covered a good portion of it. I'm just super pumped for the new stuff we got coming for the track.
Yeah.
It's gonna be good with the roller and the pipe.
Roller pipe.
We're hoping to get a good groove in, and then track won't fall apart. Keep the lips nice and tight. I think it's gonna make for better racing for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
So opener is in April.
I believe it's the 24th.
April.
That's what you said, 24th?
The 24th. Yep.
And how big of a trailer do I need?
Yeah.
30-40 footer.
Yep.
That's so the reality is that's the problem I have right now is like, oh, okay, it's $1,500 for the car. But I really want a trailer.
Yeah.
And it turns into this slippery slope of like, well, it's, $10,000 to do like a Bishop-esque trailer.
Oh yeah.
Or I could buy a small camper.
Right.
Do a little
Would be cool.
do a little converting.
Right.
We can even hook it up to the water.
Now I've got water, I can cook, got a bathroom, got the whole 9 yards.
This is not a campground, full
This
disclaimer.
is a slippery slope.
No, not a campground. Full
What?
disclaimer, not
Yep.
a campground.
Yep.
Not a campground.
Yep.
Where am I going to stay for the rest of the year?
Somewhere else that's a campground.
Yeah.
Full disclaimer.
Yeah.
Back to the van down by the river.
Yeah.
Van wouldn't be a bad idea either. But anyway, So A-scale season, going to be awesome this year, guys. If you don't have a car, come see me. I'll let you try one when the track dries out and it's in operating. Not at the moment. It's like a mud fest. But come see me. We can talk A-scale or Justin.
I'll be willing to let anybody try anything. It don't bother me.
We're willing to share.
Yep.
And if you have any input or something you want to see this season, let me know. I think that about wraps it up. I hope to see all you out there on the A-scale track. Currently, it's the 24th season opener. We may do something a little before, if the weather's nice on a Friday night or something. I don't know. That's just going to be flying by the seat right there.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Weather permitting. If we get some good weather and it dries out quick and we can put something together, then maybe we'll do a Friday night.
Mint.
Yeah, but that's going to be, and then obviously the 24th. Because A-scale is very weather dependent, so it's always subject to a little bit of change. So me and Justin try to stay up to date on weather changes and stuff. Depends on which way the wind blows in Enfield, I can tell you that much.
Not really that. This past year we started using the old shavings, wood shavings technique, and it actually has been working. When we get some water. When we get a lot of rain,
Really?
Tractor Supply.
Yeah, we go to Tractor Supply, get some bales of sawdust.
If you're listening to Tractor Supply, we're looking for a sponsor.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, it
We
works.
probably bought a tandem load of sawdust over the summer.
Yep.
So what, you throw it down, it soaks it up, and then you scoop it up and throw it out?
Nope, we just leave it.
Just leave it?
Yep.
Just blows away, and then after a while,
Eventually it
turns
gets to the edges of the track.
and whatever stays there.
It makes it so that we can race and we can have some fun and
it soaks up the puddles.
get the day and not,
I'm digging it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We do whatever we can to make sure.
We try.
Yeah, we try.
It's definitely trying some days on us.
Yeah.
But what are you gonna do?
It's outdoors.
Yep.
It's outdoors.
It's the elements.
It's crazy. That's why I like carpet too.
I can see why people at the end of the summer are like, I want to race on a controlled surface.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah, for sure.
That's cool.
That's what's kind of nice about having outdoor and indoor. Because towards the end of the summer, we're like, all right, what are we running for carpet this year, guys?
Yeah.
And then this time of the year, we're like, all right, we're ready for it.
I'm burned out with the razor precision. Let's just go.
We're ready.
Oh yeah.
Bang around.
Oh yeah.
So it's honestly a pretty good change of a good cycle. We're ready for one after the other.
Yep.
But anyway, guys, thanks for watching our podcast on the A-scales here. Make sure to stay tuned every week. Every Thursday, drop from fresh ones. We do have hopefully a next live event getting planned at the moment. Question and answer. So there'll be more info on that. And make sure to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and we do live racing feeds on our YouTube. So make sure to like and subscribe. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next week.